Rappin' with ReefBum is sponsored by Bulk Reef Supply and Ecotech Marine.
Hey, what's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the early edition of Rappin' with ReefBum. I'm your host, Keith Berkelhamer. So, today on the live stream, I welcome Wesley Vreeswijk. Hey, Wesley, what's going on, man? Wesley lives in the Netherlands, so he's doing us a real solid because it's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on my end, but it's 11 o'clock at night on his side of the pond there. So thanks, Wesley, man, for staying up late. We're not going to keep you up too long tonight, but I really appreciate you joining us. So I mentioned Wesley lives in the Netherlands, and he's been keeping reef tanks for 16 years. His tank was featured as a December 2021 Reef of the Month on Reef to Reef, and you can see it in the background right behind him. It's a really cool looking reef with a very unique aquascape and some very unique critters inside that we'll get into. But before we start digging into that with Wesley, I want to thank the sponsors for the show, both Bulk Reef Supply and Ecotech Marine. I really appreciate these companies supporting the show, and I also appreciate the support from you folks, the viewers. Please spread the word about the show, and don't forget to hit that like button. And as always, we encourage you folks to ask a lot of questions, comment via the chat. So Wesley, man, how did you get involved in the reef keeping hobby? What's the journey been like for you? So you just decided to make the switch from freshwater to saltwater. Was anybody out there that can folks hear Wesley? Let me no audio from Wesley. All right. So, all right, let me see what it looks like. There's audio here on my end, but let's see what's happening here. How about now, Wesley? Can you say a few words? Oh, hang on one second. We got an echo. Can you guys hear the at least the echo? So Wesley, monitor off. All right, Wesley, how about saying a few words now? You guys hear Wesley now? Hang on. Still nothing. That's bizarre. I heard something. Okay. They're hearing something now, Wesley. Monitor output. Nope. Nada. Wesley, count to 10 for me, will you? How about now? Can everybody hear him now? I'm getting still nothing yet. Yeah. No sound at all, both of us. All right. Let me try something else. It's that darn upgrade on my operating system. It's messing with me here. Let's see here. Now, is my sound back? Can you guys hear me? I could hear me, but I also hear an echo. All right, can you guys hear me now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got like a 20-second. I can hear you just now, Wesley. Okay. So you guys can hear me. Yes, me. All right, what about Wesley? Count up to Can you guys hear Wesley at all? No echo with me, but you guys cannot hear Wesley. All right. Yes, with me. Let me try calling. Let me see here. Still nothing with Wesley. Off. Not Wesley. Still, let's see. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Three. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Oh man. This is not what I had envisioned. Yeah, that's his blue spotted stingray. Check. So you guys can hear me? Is that fine? You guys can hear me? Let's try something here. Is that blue spotted? Yes, can hear me. But cannot hear. Try saying one more. Count again there, Wesley. Yeah, we're on Skype, and I'm using OBS with Skype. And what happened is I upgraded my operating system for my Mac, and that messed some things up with OBS. And yeah, no, he's coming through. I could hear him coming through. Let me try to like do one more thing here. Audio input capture. Can you hear me, Wesley? Okay. Audio. And can you still hear me? Okay. I am perplexed because I'm seeing audio coming through from you on the stream, my streaming software, but I'm not seeing it playing out here. And but you can hear me fine, right? And you're not hearing an echo? Okay. Here's my made from this best. Oh, that's you. Integration. Filters. There might be something on the filters there. No. You could still hear me? Okay. What is my output on OBS? I'm in my advanced audio properties, and I've got NDI source as the audio. And oh, hang on one second here. Monitor and output. You could still hear me, Wesley?
Yeah.
Okay. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did you hear that countdown?
Yeah.
Okay.
All fine.
Yep. Got it. What's that mean? Did it mean you guys heard Wesley? Give me another.
Right.
They hear you.
Yeah, we can start.
All right, I think we got you, but we got you with an echo going on here. All right, Wesley, let's.
Okay. Seems good.
Hang on one second. Give me another countdown.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Can you guys hear him counting?
7, 8, 9, 10.
You guys hear that?
Yeah, they say they hear me.
No echo here, no echo. And you can hear both me and Wesley. I don't hear any echo. And you can hear both of us now. Is that true?
It's good.
No echo, don't hear an echo. All right, somebody tell me where you could hear both of us. Echo.
No echo.
No echo.
Yep.
No echo, and he's clear. Good. All right,
Okay.
man.
Yeah, we can start.
Got it. Man, I apologize, everybody. That sucked. Yeah, what was going on here is that I had to update my Mac operating system, and I'll put his sound up a little bit. So it messed with my OBS and the integration. I'm getting really technical here, but it messed with my integration on OBS, and I had to redo the Skype integration on OBS. And so I thought I was good to go, man. And I wasn't. It's just one of those really weird things. So I don't know, Wesley, do you mind starting from the top again and just telling us a bit how you got involved in reef keeping, and then we'll dive into the tank. I know I spent about 10-15 minutes working this crap out.
Yeah. If a young guy, my dad had a freshwater tank with killifish, with all the nice colors. So 16 years ago, we bought our first home, and I want to have an aquarium and just start a reef tank. Yeah, the holy grail of the aquariums. Yeah.
And
that's it.
I think the question I asked you before was, anybody influence you? Was there anybody with a reef tank that was kind of wow? I saw it. Kind of inspired you to start that tank?
No, nobody in the neighborhood had a marine tank. So I just was buying my first tank, and saw the saltwater fishes, and yeah, if you have seen them, it's done.
Yeah. So all right, man. Let's talk about the tank behind you. That's the big display tank.
Yeah.
You got some frag tanks, and I'm gonna start running a video. Hopefully I don't have any issues with this video that I'm running here, but. So we're going to just run this video. For those of you who don't recognize this, as I mentioned in the intro, this was featured as a Reef to Reef Tank of the Month of December 2021. I mean, it is that's a kick-ass tank, man. And, I think what really strikes me is the aquascaping. How did you do the aquascaping?
Yeah, the aquascaping I had, this is the third tank with the same scape. So I start with the first scape in a tank from 145 centimeters, and yeah, the scape was a little bit smaller. So the scape is based from branched rocks. It is not real reef or something else. It is real branches. So yeah, and just started to build up part by part with tie ribs and reef cement, and yeah. And with every tank, it goes bigger. So the next tank was 2 meter and 15 centimeters. So I built it a little bit bigger. And now for this one, we built it to a scape of 180 centimeters.
How does that thing not tip over? You know, I mean, it's obviously it's really cool in terms of how you've got all that space underneath on the left side of that huge island right there. You know, how did you manage to like? Is there something like underneath the sand bed that's like?
No, there's nothing. No, there's nothing. The right side was a big element. I think it was a very, very big colony of dead Formosa, and it was a very heavy part. I think around 30 kilograms. So the base is 30 kilograms, and that I have built up to the 180, and yeah, I built up on the table. So if it want to flip over, I've made some pillars under it, so that it don't want to flip over. But yeah, it is really 1 meter without any
Did so where did you get all the dead coral branches? Is that stuff you just kind of been collecting over the years, or how did you?
Yeah, I've collected in a few years, and we had a big store, and they always had. Once in the 2 months, they had a big crate with it. So then they called me that it was in. So I drive 2.5 hours to that store to check out if there were nice branches, bigger ones, and took it home to build this reef.
I mean, there's so much to talk about here with this tank. I mean, the one thing that obviously stands out in my eyes are the 2 blue spotted stingrays. And talk to us about that, man. I mean, you were talking before the stream that they don't eat corals, but they do eat fish.
Yeah, they eat fish. They eat fish. Yeah. I started this tank 3 years ago, and the first year I had a lot of nice aquaporas, like the spatulatas and everything. So, and then we had a big power break. So a lot of the big colonies were died. And the interest in the hobby was a little bit, how do you say it, on a low point in that position. So then, I was searching for something new, and then we had a big shop or nice shop. They took care of the blue spotted rays, and I was looking for some corals by him, and I see the rays, and he said, maybe it's something for in your tank. It's possible with your workscape. You have a lot of sand. So yeah, okay, we give it a try. So I was waiting for 3 months till he said, yeah, they are good for your tank. So we picked up the first one. It's the female, the bigger one. And we have tried it a few months, and everything goes well. And we have bought the second one. Second one is African one. So it's the one is from Indonesia, and the other one is from Africa. And they are always hungry. What I told you before. So yeah, if you don't feed them, then they gonna search for some food, and then they can catch some antias or some other things.
See, that amazes me that they're actually quick enough to catch like an anthias. I mean, they look, they're big, and they look, well, I mean, I guess maybe they're small versus what they might be in the wild, but they're gigantic versus every other fish in that tank.
Yeah.
And so you got to be careful, man, I guess, in terms of not having too many expensive fish in there.
No, they eat all the freshes, so I lost a lot of expensive fish. Like the goati and that kind of things. But that's I love them. So then it's okay. So I don't buy sand sleepers anymore. Yeah, and you have to feed them a lot. So they get what they need, and then they don't catch other fish.
So what do you feed them? I mean, you're just like going out to the grocery store and buying like some big chunks of seafood or something like that?
No. There we have very good guy, and he catching. Yeah, I don't know the English name. Sprot. It are silver fishes and some spearing.
Yep.
It is more white fish, little things. What the English name is, I don't know, but yeah, and some shrimps. So fresh brown shrimps they eat. So yeah, that's also what I feed them around the day. So in the morning I always hide some shrimps in the sunbed. Yeah. So they have something to do. That's the natural thing. They have to catch the food from out of the sandbed.
So do you have any other critters in the sandbed, like any snails or any sea cucumbers or anything, or is it those rays are?
I have some snails, but they don't pick them up.
Oh, okay. So I mean, I'm assuming that those two rays are a pretty good cleanup crew in terms of keeping that sandbed clean.
Yeah. It's moving the complete day. Yeah, they're blowing in the sand to catch the shrimps. What I've hided. So yeah, every day the sand is completely loose. The only problem is that every 2 weeks the complete sandbed is on the left side of the tank. So you have to bring it back. It's a little bit work.
So tell us about the aquarium itself. It's an in-wall design, which is pretty cool. You know, how many how many liters? You know, what are the dimensions and all that stuff?
Yeah, the total liters is 2,500 liters, and the tank is 265 centimeters by 1 meter deep by 84 centimeters water high. And then I have the frag tank. Frag tank is 1 meter by 50 by 40, and then we have the Dreambox, and the Dreambox is 2 meters. So there's also I have some around 400-500 liter water inside.
I'm just going to fast forwarding to the frag tanks here because you gave us a quick look, and so you've got some looks like some smaller colonies in the frag tank, and that's plumbed into the whole system right there, I'm assuming.
Yep.
And so it's right behind the display, and you got a Bellum ARID algae reactor, so that's for your nutrient control right there.
Yeah.
And the Dreambox, you got a roller mat, I could see. Talk to us about the Dreambox. I have 2 Dreamboxes myself.
Yeah, the Dreambox is the best thing what I've bought for this tank. It is the first one, but yeah, with the fleece filter, it's amazing. It filters the water perfect, and yeah, you have a lot of dirt, what is coming from the race. Yeah, you catch up everything, so yeah, the water is clear, and it saves you a lot of work. Together with the big Supermarine.
That's the skimmer, the Supermarine skimmer, and I see you got a lot of you and I are similar because I have a lot of raw exclusive. I got the raw exclusive Dreambox, and I have a lot of GHL gear myself too.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're looking at the lighting right now. Talk to us about the lighting on your display.
Yeah, the lighting on the display in the frag tank are the same. So now I'm running with ATI straightens. I just strapped, so now I have 6 in total on main tank and frag tank.
What kind of par you generating with that with those ATIs? Do you measure par? You're not measuring par.
No, they're only hanging up for 3 weeks now, so I don't have the time to measure. But I had the program from Reefkeeper on Instagram. So his tank is looking amazing. So the par will be good.
Yeah. No, and I saw some other stuff. So you use a KH director to monitor alkalinity, and you've got a bunch of GHL dosers.
Yeah.
So what are your key parameters at? You know, what do you like to keep your alkalinity, your calcium, magnesium, nitrates, phosphates, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, so KH around 7.5. Calcium around 420. Magnesium around 1300, 1350. Yeah, phosphate, I hope to try it 0.06 under that. Sometimes it's a little bit higher, but sometimes the Seattle is bleeding out, so then you have a higher phosphate range.
Yep.
Goes very hard with the Stingrays. Nitrate, I always try to around 2. Now it's a little bit higher, but yeah.
So with the Pax Bellum, are you dosing the Pax Bellum supplements? You dosing iron, manganese, and all that stuff, or
Yeah, from Pax Bellum themselves.
And
yes.
Do you have any issues in terms of the Cato, not always growing, or have you had that pretty much dialed in?
Yeah, sometimes I have the problem if the shatter grows too fast, it kills themselves. So then the phosphates are 0, and yeah, then you get the problem that it dies. So yeah, but for all, yeah, the reactor is perfect.
Yeah, I've used the Pax Bellum on and off myself, and yeah, I think you definitely got to be dosing iron and the supplements and all that stuff to keep the Cato growing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some nitrate and some mobilane.
Yep.
Is needed.
What was I going to ask you? What about bacteria dosing? Obviously, I'm assuming that you dose bacteria to get the tank going in terms of the nitrifying bacteria and all that stuff. But are you do you dose bacteria on a regular basis or no?
Yeah. I've always a special blend on the dosing pump, so I dose that every day a few times, a little bit. And I still use the zeerbak in the biomate from Koraalzucht. That still help. It's still one of the best bacteria there is.
Yeah, I mean, do you find that it's helpful in terms of helping also to control nutrients, or do you think it's also good just in terms of being an additional food source for corals?
The zeerbak and the biomate, yeah. I see if I dose a lot of zeerbak, the nitrate is low, and you can play with it. And if you dose the biomate, you can see that the phosphate goes down. So yeah, for me, is not about feeding the corals, but it's really to keep my nutrition in the right way. Where I want it.
Yeah, I took I had a do-it-yourself refugium, and I also had a Pax. So I got 2 different systems. I got I had a refugium going on one system, Pax Bellum on the other system. But I pretty much stopped with the Cato and taking the Cato offline, and pretty much are using the bacteria dosing to help control my my nutrients. So yeah, it's good, but you got to be careful, because if you're dosing too much bacteria, then it could really close to zero out your nitrates and your phosphates.
Yeah.
You're dosing nitrates. Do you dosing phosphates at all as well, or no?
No, normally not. Normally I only dose the nitrate from Pax Bellum when needed. So I measure it a lot. But it sounds stupid, but if my phosphate and nitrate is 0, then I love to buy fish and not to buy some bottles with phosphate.
Just get another Stingray, man. That'll add some nutrients to the tank.
No, 2 is enough.
Yeah. Massimo Maholo. I'm not sure if I'm definitely not pronouncing that correctly, but very, very. Thank you very much for that super chat. Yeah, you got to be careful. Have you ever had any issues with problematic algae like cyano or any hair algae taking over the tank at the beginning? And if so, how have you tackled that stuff?
Yeah, sometimes I have some cyano. Like now, the nutrition were a little bit out of balance, so then you see that you get it. But yeah, with the Stingrays, you don't have it on the sandbed, and normally that's very frustrating if the sandbed is purple. But yeah, for now I dose every morning and every evening some zeolzine and cork snow together with some cyano clean from Koraalzucht. I love to keep it, how do you say it, natural. So no chemical stuff. So I want to have, to solve it with the good things, with bacteria and kind of things.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I used to, you know, if I had some, I've tried like ChemiClean, you know, a couple of times in my systems, and you know, it certainly works in terms of clearing up cyano, but I just I feel like I don't know enough about it in terms of how it impacts the you know, the microbiome of the tank, you know, and I also think it's just sort of like a band-aid that you know, whatever causes the cyano to appear, you know, when you use a chemical to get rid of it, I think eventually it's going to come back if you're not making any changes to what you're doing with the tank. But yeah, I always I do try to go the natural route myself, just because I think chemicals, it's there's some unknowns in that sense. So you mentioned you're using some of the coral foods, aminos. Are you using any amino acids? Is that part of the equation?
No, I don't use anything about this. No.
All right, let's talk about flow in that tank. Obviously, you can see that flow is cranking, and so it's a long tank, it's a wide tank. What are you using right now for? And the cool thing is you can't really see. I don't know if you want to, Wesley, take your phone and kind of show us what you got there in terms of the circulation, and talk to us a little bit about that. There you go.
Maybe see them now.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm using the Abyss AFC 150. Two of them, and it are amazing pumps with amazing flow. They are the housings from titanium, so cleaning is very easy. They look very big, but they are Before I had some Panterai pumps, and then you need the big curve, and I lost some fish in it. But I hate the curves. It's too big.
That tank is a dangerous place for your fish. You got those gigantic pumps, and you got those two stingrays that are just looking for a meal.
Yeah, but with this pump, it's better for the fish. But yeah, the flow is amazing.
So you had I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, tell.
I was going to say, so before the stream, we were also talking about you. I thought you had some Panterais, and maybe that's what I saw in the Reef to Reef feature. But do you want to make any comparisons that you'd like to make versus what you're using right now, the Panterais versus those?
Yeah, so the Abyss are very, very strong and very for the straight ways. Yeah, so they are very powerful. The Panterai is more making a flow that goes also around your reef. So it's a hard decision to tell what is the best pump. You know, I like this one with its controlling and everything is very easy to adjust, and it's a hard decision to say what is the best.
Well, looks like my wife set off the fire alarm. That's all right. I think hopefully the house is not going to burn down. Man, I got a lot of problems on my end here, Wesley. Man, I don't know what's going on here. It sounds like a cop car in this house right now. Hopefully hopefully I don't have to evacuate. So those aren't cheap, right? Those are a little expensive in terms of those pumps.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of what's the retail on those pumps? Do you know?
I really don't know. I don't want to know. and maybe my wife is looking. So.
All right, we'll strike that question from the record then. Yeah. You know, I have a similar challenge in terms of flow. One of my tanks is a peninsula tank, and it's 6 foot long by 3 foot wide by 20 inches tall. I'm speaking in the, I'm not speaking in the metric system there, and I know you and I are on the different, we're U.S. versus metric. Thanks, Reef Keeper. So yeah, it was. I I was really trying to find a way not to. Right now I have 4 MP40s and 2 MP60s in my Peninsula tank, and I was trying to avoid having the 2 MP40s down on the viewing end panel of the tank, but I just couldn't avoid doing that. And but I knew like the pan arrays were a potential option. I knew they were big.
Yeah.
I also knew they were very expensive.
Yeah, but also the MP60, I had 4 of them. But yeah, the glass is 15 millimeter on the side. But also there's a glass inside from black glass from 8 millimeters. So they don't want to stick on the.
It's so thick. Yeah.
So and yeah, so I glue them a little bit. So, but yeah, if you see that the MP60 is not taking the other side of the tank.
Yeah.
And if you see this one, they are running from you see the flow. It's amazing, and they are running from 20 to 65%.
Wow.
So yeah.
Can you guys hear that? Can you guys hear the my fire alarms going off? Can you hear that, Wesley?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes for an interesting show. Yeah, my wife likes to cook and in the kitchen and sometimes she doesn't open up the windows, so every now and then this will happen. But all right, how about calcium and alkalinity supplementation? What are you using to supplement alkalinity and calcium?
Yeah, so I'm using the ATI Essentials Plus.
So you're using like a 2-part type of thing? Okay.
Yep.
Now in the I thought I saw in the video on one of your videos that there was or maybe it was the Reef article that you had a calcium reactor, a Destaco.
Yeah, Destaco. Yeah.
Why did you switch from the reactor to the 2-part?
I'm for work. I'm a lot from home. So and always if you are from home, there's something.
Yeah.
And yeah. So and I was thinking I need some for the new tank. What you only have to fill up, and that's it. So yeah, everybody can fill up the containers, and yeah, it will work. So that's a little bit more fail safe for now. But the Destaco is a great reactor. But yeah, if you have a big tank for 2,500 liters, the reactor is so big. Yeah, I think this is easy.
How much of the 2-part are you using per day?
Around 230 meals.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but yeah.
I was doing my I've got my 187 gallon tank has got a couple of frag tanks plumbed into it, so the total system volume is about 450 gallons, and I had been using 300 mLs per day of each 2-part, and so it just got so frickin' expensive that I decided to go with a calcium reactor, and I'm also using right now like primarily Kalkwasser, but are you using Kalkwasser at all? Nope.
I never use it. I'm a little bit afraid of it.
Oh, you're afraid of it? You don't want to over.
Yeah. You heard sometimes the stories that it does too much or that something goes wrong, and maybe there are some new monitors of it, but yeah.
Well, there's a segment out there that likes to use the Kalk slurry, dose the Kalk slurry. And I'm not gonna get into that whole thing, but I think that's a riskier approach versus using a super saturated solution where you've got the sediment on the bottom and you're just dosing that clear, well, not terribly clear, but that solution into the tank. But yeah, pH. What's your pH range in that tank?
Yeah, it's around 7.9 for the nights and 8.3, 8.4 a day.
How do that's not too bad. I mean, how do you keep that pH elevated? Are you doing anything special? Is the tank in a closed room, or are you getting a lot of air in there?
No, I have a lot of air in there. It is it's in the garage, or it's not a garage, but it's looking at garage. So there are there's a lot of fresh air inside over there, and I use the Carbo X filter from ATI on the skimmer.
Gotcha. Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, I have an air exchange unit in my basement. All my tanks are in my finished basement. So in the wintertime, I turn on that air exchange unit, and so that brings in the fresh air, and my pH is elevated as a result of that. So yeah, but obviously the Kalk washer for me keeps it elevated like in the 8.3 to 8.5 range.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What about
nice.
What about UV? Do you use UV at all in that system?
Yeah. I have 85 watts UV on. Yeah.
Yeah, folks. If anybody has any questions for Wesley, just pop them in the chat. So you're using the UV. Why are you using the UV? What's your rationale for using the UV?
Yeah, I love tanks. So surgeons. So yeah, that's why I have them, to keep the fish healthy and yeah.
Yeah, I just started running UV myself. It was like probably the last year or two I've been running UV 24/7. I just think one reason why I like to run the UV is I think there's certain dinos out there, right, that are that can you can use the UV to get rid of the dinos because they're free floating. But I like that in the sense that it can prevent, a dino outbreak, and I also like the fact that it keeps the water, cleaner, and also can prevent, I guess, some of the fish disease. And I think there's there's a debate out there in terms of using UV, in terms of is it killing anything beneficial in terms of the bacteria that the corals might need. But I also think that if you're dosing bacteria, then that could potentially counteract that. Talk to us, man, about your maintenance routine. What are you doing like on a weekly, monthly basis with that tank? Water changes?
Yeah. So as everybody, feed the fish twice a day. Clean the windows every day to make the job to make it an easy job. On the other side, I clean it also, and it's easy to clean. Once in the 2 months, I clean the side panels, scrape all the algae off. What I told you before, the sand bed, I have to move it back every 2 weeks. So so that's one of the maintenance things. Dreambox. I think the skimmer, I have the skim cleaner on top, so I clean it once a month. Only the cup and the skim cleaner. Yeah, and it is a Dreambox with a freeze filter, so yeah, you don't have to clean your sump. So that's
that's got to keep it pretty clean. I mean, I do have to admit, I've got filter socks with my Dreambox, and I'm constantly having to I clean my filter socks maybe like once a week or something like that. But those fleece rolls last how long for you?
With my high stock, it's around 2.5, 3 months.
Wow.
So that's perfect.
So Bert Minshew was asking, has Wesley had any sandstorms from the rays killing the acros? Have you had any issues with sandstorms getting into the corals?
No, not yet. But that's what I'm checking every day, if there's sand on it. But I always use the special grade from KFC. So it is not that they can. It's not really sandstorm. It is only the very fine what is going over the corals. And I think once a week I clean. I clean that. I don't know, with the pipette. I don't know the English name, but I clean the corals that there's no sand on the corals.
Did you mention water changes? Like how often and how much do you do in terms of water changes?
I'm not a water change guy, so sometimes if I have time or if it's needed, I do it. So I always do a 4 weeks with my carbon, zeolite, and with my phosphate remover if I use it. So that's what I'm doing every 4 weeks. Change to new, and yeah, water change. If I do it, most of the times I do it 3 water change from 200, so 600 in total.
Gotcha. What about traces? You mentioned that you were dosing some stuff. Are you dosing some specific trace elements?
Yeah, so I always do the ATI test and check what I'm missing. So, and if I see that I'm one of the supplements, yeah, if I miss a supplement, then they're gonna dose this. So at the moment I dose fluor, iodine, manganese, iron, strontium. Do I miss something? Yeah, vanadium.
And how often are you doing the ICP testing to make sure that you're keeping the right amount in terms of dosing those traces?
Yeah, if the calls are looking good every 3 months, and if I think I missed something, then I do it every month.
Yeah. You know, it could add up, right? I mean, when you do it that often. Talk to us about the corals in the tank. You know, I saw like a lot of kind of classic corals, a lot of stylophora, a lot of you know, birds' nests. Or do you just kind of like gravitate to that stuff? Are you not into like designer named you know, corals and frags and all that stuff?
Yeah, I love, but I love big colonies. So, and that's, yeah, you didn't find the designer corals in big anymore. You know, if they have them, somebody buy it and cut it in pieces, and I hate that. So yeah, but I love the spatulatas, but it is very hard to keep the everything perfect with the stingrays. So that's the thing that I did a step backwards with corals. So I was going to love the fish, and now I'm just running a little bit back to the nicer corals. So I'm just putting in some milliporas to check if everything stays on color. So it seems good.
Do those rays ever knock anything over?
Sometimes. That's also if you have a small frag,
Yeah.
you never find it back anymore. So that's also that you need a big colony. But yeah, I'm not a collector, but I want to have a big nice pieces. Yeah, so if there is something in the store, I definitely buy it.
So what are the local fish stores like around you? I mean, do they carry like a lot of I mean years ago when you know, back here in the United States when I first got into the hobby, it was like, you know, there was a lot of colonies available for sale. There's a lot of maricultured colonies, wild colonies, what have you. And you know, these days we never see that stuff. It's all pretty much like you know, frags. But is it different in the Netherlands?
Yeah, the most of the stores have little frags now, and yeah, and the prices are very high. So I yeah, for the stores is better to sell a lot of frags than one big expensive colony. But yeah, I always go to the same store. So I always checking the Facebook of the Young Marine Life, the supplier here in Holland. And they have a big Facebook with all the pictures of all the calls they have. And then I ask, can you bring this and this for me? And then next week I have the calls. So that's how I do it now. But yeah, it's hard to get nice colonies for now. It is not what it was.
Yeah.
Before you had nice mariculture, what is a big like a hand full. You don't find it anymore, or for ridiculous prices.
What about, so you know, with the colonies that you're buying and you know, the larger pieces, what do you do about pests? You know, like hitchhikers coming out on those pieces. Do you do any like quarantining? You just do some dips and
yeah. So everything first goes inside the frag tank. So we call it frag tank, but yeah, it is not a frag tank. So it has to be empty normally. So I have some little frags, designer frags I have inside the frag tank to grow out to a nice coral. And then I put it in the main tank. And also I put them in the frag tank. Light is a little bit less, so yeah, they can acclimate. And yeah, and then I do some dips by incoming, and I have some dancing shrimps inside. Who are cleaning the corals over there. Yeah, I don't know the rhino thing. I don't know exactly the name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. All right, a couple questions here. King Reef Tank is wondering, what will be your next addition, and what kind of fish do you want to add in the future?
For sure, the Zandloes is coming. I need to have it.
What you need to have? What did you coral?
Zandloes.
What is that? Is that?
Yeah, the Zandloes ornatus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Danish idol.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Bert Minshew is asking, what is your worst disaster you've ever had? The worst disaster.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. The power breakup. 3 times in a row, in one weekend. That yeah. There are so many corals what was dying in that weekend. So yeah, that was the biggest disaster I ever
you didn't
had.
have a backup generator?
Yeah, I have UPS, but yeah, that one the battery was broken. It was a new one, almost 4 months old. But yeah, the battery was broken, so it did nothing. So yeah, I had some little pumps. I used the car.
Yep.
Yeah, put the car on and took some energy from the car. But yeah, it was the first day it was 6 hours. The second day 5 hours, and then another time 6 hours. So it was too much.
Yeah. I have a full house backup generator as well as a portable generator just in case that full house backup fails. And yeah, you know, I mean, we've had some power outages that lasted like a day and a half. So you don't get too many power outages there?
Normally not.
Yeah, you never know though, right?
No. Now we have the sun panel, so we need to have some battery things to catch up.
So in the you know, you've been reefkeeping for 16 years, and a lot of us you know, tend to you know, stick with what works. But you know, there's also instances where you know, you kind of like evolve and adapt because there's new methods out there, and you try new stuff, and you're experimenting. Have you had any recent experiments or things that you've tried that that you like that has kind of changed the way you tend to reef tanks?
It's not an easy question. Yeah, I'm always checking what is the best. So sometimes I have some gear, and then I see something different, and then I think maybe it's better, and then I try it out. Yeah, what's the best? Yeah, I just swapped from Apex to GHL.
How's that turned out?
Yeah, nice, very nice. I love it. I before I had the Profilux 3 before the Apex, and that was terrible. You know, I'm not a computer guy, so then it was not easy to adjust and to program. But yeah, the new one is very nice. Yeah. And I want to have one system, so I was using the Apex together with the Focustronic, you know, the Alcatronic, etc. But yeah, it was not one system. And that's the nice thing what you have now. GHL have everything, so you have one big system.
Do you have the ion director yet?
I'm waiting.
Me too.
But yeah.
Supply chain issues.
Yeah. Everybody have it.
Yeah. So what kind of advice would you give to somebody that wants to get into reef keeping and really kind of take it to the next level? What do you think is really like the top 3 most important things that you would say to somebody about keeping a reef tank, especially one like that, large one?
Yeah. First one, took your time. Yeah, you have some hobbyist, they start up the tank and they want to have aquapoas, and this week they put the water in, and next week they are buying aquapoas, and then so took your time to make the tank stable. 2, follow one where you have good feelings with. So if you have a great store and you have a good feeling with the owner or with the guys who are working there, and they say use this method, we use it, and you see that it is working, use that method, and don't swap every time. If you see on Facebook, oh, this one is using this or this, also the same. Took your time with everything. And 3, don't work too much on the tank. So try to avoid that you are with your hands in the tank every day.
So let me ask you some rapid fire questions. Favorite SPS?
Spatulata.
I have a spatulata too myself, and it's an awesome coral. It can be a little finicky, but awesome coral.
Yeah.
Favorite LPS?
No LPS.
I didn't know there's LPS in there. I saw like a elegance coral, right?
Yeah. Okay. Dragophilia.
Not a bad piece of coral there. No. Well, this is all right. Favorite fish besides the blue spotted stingrays?
In my tank, the Japonicus.
I don't even know what those are.
Aquaturus.
Oh, okay. Is that the dream tank? Is that you? Any thoughts about potentially upgrading to a bigger tank, or is that going to be it for you?
No, a bigger tank. No, maybe. I have some ideas, but my wife don't gonna accept it.
She's thinking otherwise.
Yeah. No. The tank is big enough, and it's a nice place where it is, and maybe in the future I want to have a tank from New Wave, plexiglass. Maybe that's
lighter,
a little bit more clear.
Yeah.
Maybe I make it higher or something. But
how do you like the in-wall design? I used to have an in-wall tank. Is that something that you might change in the future, or do you like having the in-wall tank?
No. I love to have it like this. Yeah. At first I was afraid that it was not easy. That there's no. I don't get it in. So this is wall. You know. So I have to do everything from the backside. But you don't have the sound, and if you are sitting here, you only hear the water from the flow pumps. That's it. So that's very nice.
Yeah.
So I love the in-wall design.
So I have 2 display tanks that are in my basement here, and they're all open, out in the rooms, and definitely makes a little bit more noise than my in-wall tank used to. That's for sure. Wesley, let's I'm probably let's thinking about we should probably like wrap this thing up, because it's like midnight now where you're at, and I was just very happy and thrilled that we could get you on the show. I know we had a lot of scheduling difficulties in terms of trying to find the right time, but I really appreciate you joining us, and apologize for the technical difficulties there at the beginning. That just sucked. But anything you wanted to say before we sign off?
No, maybe someone want to see something else, or I don't know. I have the time.
Okay, yeah. If anybody else has any other questions, drop them in the chat. Yeah, I mean, I always like, you know, in terms of a an aquarium, I there's certain like features to a tank that I like to have. You know, I don't know if you have Euro bracing on that tank. It's maybe it's something that helps to reinforce a larger tank like that. I mean, I like just being able to. I find it to be very useful in terms of the Euro bracing. Not only is it practical in terms of keeping the tank you know, reinforced, but I also like just putting stuff on top of it. Is that a Euro brace tank? Bracing
Yes.
on the top.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's a an external overflow.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's on one end of the tank is the overflow.
Yeah, one end. So on the left side we have the abyss, and on the other side we have the overflow box. So they blow it in the overflow.
Gotcha. Did you ever think about doing a closed loop on that system? Those scare the crap out of me, you know. But with for flow, it's a great thing to have. But I never like to drill any holes below the water line myself, especially on the bottom.
Yeah. I have a few weeks ago we were on the Summerfest by Royal Exclusiv, and they showed the new pump from Panterij. You know, the inline pipe pump, and I see what it did. It was very nice to see what the flow what the flow gives.
Yeah. I don't know. I just that would be a tough thing for me to be able to sleep at night, knowing that there might be a leak going through one of the bulkheads at the bottom of the tank.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Acupuncture is asking, do you have any other tanks? And we talked about the frag tank that you have. And Paul Greatbeard Reef is asking, is a cantilevered rock put together with mortar? Yeah, how did you put all that stuff together?
Yeah, so I used some tie wraps, but and some concrete from Agroforest I've used for it. And that's it. It's only tie wraps from
And the tie wraps, those are not really visible. I mean, obviously you got all the corals covering them up, but maybe at the beginning they were visible.
No, I covered all the tie wraps with concrete.
Oh, okay.
So you don't see it. So it looks like rock work.
How often do you get people asking you, can you make one of those for me? In terms of that aquascape.
A lot, a lot. I've made a few.
Do you?
Yeah, I have made a few. Sometimes it's lovely to do. So yeah, it's nice to do, and then there's also if building tanks, it's always fun. You know, so my neighbor have also a flying reef from reef branches, but now the branches are not for sale anymore. Almost. So now we use the reef branch from Arca. So that's also very nice stuff to work with.
Yeah, there's a few companies here that I think you can get the branches from. There just seems to be so many more options these days in terms of the dry rock. You know, when you first got into the hobby, did you ever use live rock, or did you just pretty much get?
Yeah, in the first tank. Yeah. But everybody is complaining that there is no live rock anymore. Not. Yeah. But I think I'm never gonna start with live rock.
Yeah, so for my my newest tank, I started that all with live rock, and I was able to pretty much add corals and have Acropora thrive pretty quickly in that tank. It didn't take too long. I waited like 5 or 6 months, after the tank had cycled to start adding corals and stuff. But right after that, when I started adding frags, they just started really taking off really well. I had a bad experience using dry rock a number of years ago, and I made a lot of mistakes, doing that. But I have my other tank, the 187 gallon tank, the one that did start with dry rock. I rebooted that, put in Haitian live rock, and the tank thrived. And then that was like about 5-6 years. It was just packed with corals. So I just did another major redo on that, and I put in the dry rock, but I cooked the dry rock in a 100-gallon Rubbermaid tub with established tank water, and I dose bacteria every day, and so it cooked in that tub for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Did you do anything similar, or did you just pretty much put it in the display tank and just
No, I put it in the display tank. I always do the 10 days start from Korallenzucht. You dose a very big amount of bacteria inside, and you start up your tank in 14 days.
Wow.
So that's a great. I took a little bit more time, but it really works. If you have very clean stone, it works very, very fine. But as a starter, you don't have to do it like that. But if you know what you are doing, it's
So Mohesh Sagar Garobe, looking forward to visit you on the tank in the near future, Wesley. Time to say goodnight, friends.
Yeah. My big friend from Mauritius.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does take a little while in terms of the in terms of the dry rock and getting things going. So it's not I think as good as live rock. I mean, you guys can't even get any live rock around there.
Yeah, from the Young Marine Life, but it's not that fresh anymore.
Yeah. What about the
what I'm seeing?
What about the Australian live rock? Is that something that you guys have started to see?
I really don't know.
Yeah,
I have to check it out.
There's some retail shops that are starting to bring that stuff in the United States. But I guess my question is, how much of that life is actually still on the rock after being in transit for so long?
Yeah, 16 years ago, the first tank I started with the live rock. If you see, there were some little cores on it, some and you see some seaweed and that kind of things. If you are buying it now, you don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, it really does. I guess if you could find at least some rubble, it does add a lot of biodiversity to a system, for sure. This is an interesting question. What in the hobby do you think is, in terms of like the future? What kind of inspires you to kind of stay in the hobby and keep at it in terms of reef keeping? Is it anything in particular?
I think it's in my blood. Yeah, now in Holland, the energy prices are so expensive that it's almost not doable to keep your tank. But also my wife is saying, if you took your tank out, I think in a few months there's a new tank. So I like to work on it. Also, sometimes you are yelling on it. It's always working, hard work. But if you are sitting here and you eat your dinner and you are looking at the tank, you get a lot of rust over you. And I like the animals inside. So sometimes I'm sitting over here and only looking at the tank, and you follow one of the fishes and what he is doing. So I love that it is a real ecosystem.
Yeah.
So every fish has his own job. Yeah, and I have it still. Maybe if I lost this, that I only see a fish swimming in the tank, it's time to get out. But
what's your biggest challenge with that tank?
For now, I think the phosphate and the nitrates. It's hard working. So if the Pests Bellum is not working right, then it's hard work to keep it low. Then you have to dose some carbon, but you don't want to dose the carbon. It's
In terms of like kind of speeding up the bacteria dosing, in terms of carbon dosing. Yeah. That's that can definitely be a fine line. You got to be careful with that stuff. I've never had the guts to do it.
Yeah, sometimes I use it. We have a new Dutch brand, but it works very fine. But it is so yeah. If you dose it, I think you can make your phosphate from 0.2 to 0.0 in 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, but yeah, it's also dangerous.
Yeah, no, I had some situation in one of my tanks where I had phosphates that were like pretty much right at 0 for a few weeks in a row, and a couple corals were pissed off. You know, they were just lightened up, and so I had to do some of the phosphate dosing to get them up. But I think that you know, for me, a lot of times it's the corals that kind of help to absorb that phosphate as well as the nitrate. So that's always a you know, I guess a good problem to have. But yeah, I mean, the other option, which I do not advocate at all, and some people with the larger you know, very, very large aquariums, the public aquariums use like lanthanum chloride.
I have used it.
Have you?
Yeah, sometimes I use it if I need it. But that's the nice thing, you know. I have the frag tank, so I dose it in the overflow from the frag tank, and then before it goes to the main tank, it's already removed by a freeze filter.
Yeah. So you've never had any issues using it?
Yeah, I think I was thinking that I have lost some NTS with it. I was using Lantan and I was missing every time some NTS. But yeah, I don't know exactly if it was from this. But yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like that's really like playing a little Russian roulette there, you know. I mean, but you know, if you use it correctly and you take the right steps to prevent any of those potential disasters, then it does the job. But
it does the job, but you have some extra work on your glass work and that kind of things. Well, that's what I see. If I use it, I always have some white spots on the glass, and it's so hard to remove it.
Oh, really?
So it is not. Yeah, I don't know. There's something sticky on the glass, and you really have to took it off with your with your hands. It's not working with the flipper or something else.
Yeah. You know, one thing I don't think we talked about, or I asked you, is the you know, so you mentioned, you know, phosphates can be your biggest challenge. Do you feed the fish a lot? Do you add a lot of you know, food to that tank on a daily basis? How often do you feed them?
Twice
a day.
Yeah, and I feed only frozen food. So I frozen mices, and then the fishes. And we have some great mixes over here. So we have a shrimp mix and a special fish mix. It's there are veggies in and everything is inside. Also frozen food, so it's very good for the fish. Yeah, I like to feed the fish a lot. I know it's not the easiest job that I do with feeding the fish, and then I have to work hard for the phosphates.
Yeah.
But a big fish is a healthy fish.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's kind of like that double-edged sword. You feed the fish a lot, and you know, the good source of or phosphate is going to be in that fish food. I have my own like homemade fish food, as well as I feed mysis cubes and brine shrimp cubes and all that stuff. But I use a lot of fish that I buy from the supermarket, and you know, and I take a whole bunch of different types of fish and I put it in a big you know, blender, blend everything all up, put some garlic powder in there, and you know, a little reef roids, coral food. Just I put a lot of different stuff in there, but I know that's probably got a good high amount of phosphate in it.
Yeah.
Do you do any? Do you like wash the frozen food in a net before you feed it, or
Yeah.
That's always a good thing to do to try to like get that phosphate out. Well, all right, Wesley, man, I think we're gonna wrap it up, and you know, again, man, thank you very much for being on the live stream, and appreciate you staying up really late out there in Holland,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
But it was a pleasure to meet you. And yeah, if folks have any additional questions, how can they get a hold of you?
They can, yeah, they can put it in here. I will answer it later on.
Gotcha, in the comments.
Or they can find me on Instagram or Facebook.
What do you under on Facebook or Instagram? Just what's your handle? I guess on username on Instagram.
Oh, Wesley's Reef.
Wesley's Reef.
So easy. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They can find
All
me.
right. All right. Well, listen, I want to give Wesley my sincere thanks again for being on the live stream. I also want to thank both Bulk Reef Supply and Ecotech Marine for being a sponsor of the live stream. I also want to thank all of you folks that tuned in tonight. And thank you again to Paul, the moderator. Appreciate it, Paul. And folks, if you want to catch episodes of Rappin With ReefBum as a podcast, you can visit Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Amazon. My next Rappin With ReefBum live stream will be on Thursday, October 6th, next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, back to the regular time, with Chris Kapp, who owns Aquatic Art, a local fish store in Colorado. And he's a bit of a legend in terms of the LFS world. In Colorado, should be another great show. If you want to check out the full upcoming schedule of guests, visit reefbum.com under the YouTube section. Until then, be safe and be well, and we will see you next time.